OMG, Jon Rahm just revealed his next move. PGA Tour fans stunned. The two-time major champion has been the face of LIV Golf since his record-breaking $300 million move in December 2023. He's won 3 straight individual season championships. He's been untouchable on the Rebel circuit. He's been the player who made LIV feel legitimate, the one who proved that the Saudi billions could actually attract the best players in the world. But behind closed doors, something has been shifting. The Saudi billions are gone. LIV's future is hanging by a thread. The league's season-ending championship has been canceled, a devastating blow to the league's credibility. Players are being told to prepare for a drastically reduced schedule in 2027, and Jon Rahm is exploring the possibility of walking away from LIV 2 years before his contract expires. According to multiple reports, LIV Golf officials are almost resigned to Rahm's departure at the end of 2026. The Telegraph's James Corrigan reported that the league is bracing for the Spanish star to quit, with sources indicating that the DP World Tour has already been primed about his intentions of primarily playing on that circuit in 2027. Think about that. The $300 million man, the face of LIV Golf, the player who was supposed to be the cornerstone of the league's future, is about to walk away, and the league he helped build may not survive his departure. LIV's future now rests on players who were never supposed to be its stars, and that's a terrifying prospect for everyone involved.
The reasons for Rahm's expected departure are both personal and financial. According to reports, Rahm is not enamored by the prospect of the new LIV iteration, which is touted to feature just 10 events with greatly reduced purses. The LIV of 2027 will be a shadow of its former self. Instead of 14 events with massive Saudi-backed purses, the league will operate with just 10 tournaments in significantly smaller prize funds. For a player who joined LIV expecting a top-tier global tour with massive paydays and a legitimate schedule, this is a devastating downgrade. The league he signed up for no longer exists, and the new version is something he never agreed to. But there's another factor, the DP World Tour. Rahm reached a landmark deal with the European-based tour in May 2026, agreeing to pay outstanding fines accrued since joining LIV and committing to play 5 DP World Tour events in 2026 to retain his membership and Ryder Cup eligibility. The DP World Tour is now increasingly confident that Rahm will play more of its events in 2027, and if he chooses to stay with LIV, he would risk 6-figure fines from the DP World Tour each time he plays on the Rebel circuit. Those sanctions were parked in 2026 for a cohort of LIV Rebels, but they are expected to return in 2027. For Rahm, the choice is becoming clear. Stay with a diminished LIV and face financial penalties from the DP World Tour, or walk away and reclaim his place on the traditional tours. The mathematics are simple. The DP World Tour fines could easily exceed whatever LIV can offer him in 2027, and Rahm has already proven he can win on both sides of the Atlantic.
But here's where the story gets complicated. If Rahm leaves LIV, returning to the PGA Tour is not as simple as he might hope. The PGA Tour suspended all players who participated in unsanctioned events for 1 year. That means if Rahm plays LIV's event in Indianapolis next week, he would be suspended until August 23, 2027, the exact punishment currently being served by Patrick Reed, who is close to being allowed back on the tour. Brooks Koepka was able to return to the PGA Tour earlier this year through a one-time returning member program, but he accepted strict conditions. He had to work his way back through performance rather than receiving automatic status. He had to pay a $5 million fine to charity. He forfeited his player equity for 5 years, and he had to earn his place through performance on the course. Rahm and Bryson DeChambeau both turned down that opportunity earlier this year when the Saudi PIF was still committed to funding LIV. They believed the league would survive. They believed the money would keep flowing. They were wrong. And now, Golf Channel's Rex Hoggard has warned that Rahm almost certainly cannot expect to be given the same opportunity again. I can't imagine him getting the same treatment as Brooks Koepka, because I don't know that Brian Rolapp can sell the membership on that again, simply because of everything that transpired, Hoggard said.
I don't see Bryson DeChambeau or Jon Rahm getting that sort of treatment. The warning is clear. Rahm may have to sit out an entire year, effectively forfeiting the 2027 season before he can even think about playing on the PGA Tour again. And that's a devastating prospect for a player who is entering the prime of his career. He would miss majors, signature events, and the chance to build his legacy, all because of a decision he made when the money was too good to refuse. And then there's the money. Rahm is still owed a 9-figure portion of his staggering $300 million signing-on fee. If he walks away 2 years early, he would forfeit a significant chunk of that bonus. But the situation is complicated by LIV's financial turmoil. Reports indicate that the Saudi Public Investment Fund is expected to seek discounted settlements on player contracts as LIV transitions into its next phase, with Rahm still owed more than $100 million under his existing agreement. Several scenarios could play out. Rahm could receive the debt as equity in LIV 2.0, owning a stake in the league instead of getting paid in cash. Or, if LIV files for bankruptcy, the league could effectively go through its player roster, contract by contract, and make decisions on which deals still make financial sense to them. LIV could then offer players a choice, renegotiate by swapping guaranteed cash for equity, or face flat-out rejection. This is a nightmare scenario for the players who left the PGA Tour for guaranteed money. Their contracts are no longer guaranteed. The promises they were sold are evaporating, and Jon Rahm may be the first to find out just how vulnerable he really is. Imagine leaving the PGA Tour, burning bridges with your former colleagues, and then finding out that the contract you signed isn't worth the paper it's printed on. That's the reality Jon Rahm is facing right now. LIV's financial position has become so precarious that the cost of keeping the likes of Rahm, DeChambeau, and Cameron Smith directly conflicts with where LIV needs to be financially to survive. A source said that the league is walking a tightrope as it restructures, needing a functioning balance sheet while also needing its remaining star players to generate meaningful revenue from sponsors and TV partners. The two goals are fundamentally incompatible, and Jon Rahm is the first casualty. Rahm's decision also has major implications for the Ryder Cup. The Spaniard was one of Europe's key players in last year's victory over the United States at Bethpage Black, but his future on the team is now in serious doubt. European players are ineligible for Ryder Cup selection if they lose their DP World Tour membership, and Rahm's standoff with the tour has been a major concern. The DP World Tour has already warned Rahm that he faces heavy-handed fines and tournament suspensions if he continues competing in conflicting events in 2027. If he refuses to pay those fines, he could lose his DP World Tour membership and eligibility for the 2027 Ryder Cup at Ireland's Adair Manor. The irony is staggering. Rahm left the PGA Tour for a $300 million payday, and now he's fighting to maintain his eligibility for the one event that truly matters to him. For a player who has always spoken passionately about representing Europe, the prospect of missing the 2027 Ryder Cup is unthinkable. Rahm has said repeatedly that the Ryder Cup is his favorite event. He's called it the greatest honor in golf. And now he's facing the very real possibility that he won't be able to play in it, all because of a decision he made when the money was too good to refuse.
The DP World Tour has been remarkably patient with LIV players, but that patience is wearing thin. European captain Luke Donald will want Rahm on his team, but if Rahm can't maintain his membership, he won't be eligible. And the DP World Tour has shown no signs of backing down. The fines are mounting, the suspensions are looming, and Jon Rahm is running out of time. And now, the biggest reveal of all. According to reports, Rahm is expected to make his final decision in the coming weeks. The signs are pointing in one direction. He's leaving LIV Golf. The DP World Tour is already preparing for his return. The PGA Tour is bracing for the fallout, and LIV Golf is fighting for survival without its biggest star. But here's the twist that nobody expected. Rahm's departure could trigger a chain reaction that destroys LIV Golf entirely. The league is walking a tightrope as it restructures, needing a functioning balance sheet while also needing its remaining star players to generate meaningful revenue from sponsors and TV partners. One source said that the cost of keeping the likes of Rahm, DeChambeau, and Cameron Smith directly conflicts with where LIV needs to be financially to survive. If Rahm leaves, the league's ability to secure the necessary funding for 2027 and beyond becomes significantly more difficult. LIV's new investor, private equity firm BC Partners, has not yet fully committed to the league's future. The deal is contingent on LIV's ability to generate revenue, and LIV's ability to generate revenue is contingent on keeping star players. If Rahm walks, the math stops working. The league's future becomes untenable. One source put it bluntly: LIV fears Jon Rahm will quit, and if he does, the league may not survive. So here's the question that's haunting the golf world. Will Jon Rahm's next move be the beginning of the end for LIV Golf and the beginning of a new chapter for the PGA Tour? What do you think? Will Rahm return to the PGA Tour, play on the DP World Tour, or shock everyone by staying with LIV? And is it time for the PGA Tour to welcome back its biggest stars? Drop your thoughts below.